Hello everyone, my name is Zachary O'Shea, and this is Box of Teeth. Every October for the last few years, I've gone ahead and shared a homebrewed monster for Dungeons & Dragons. So today is your October Monster a Day for October 11th, 2023. This week what I'm doing is sharing legendary versions of previously published Waning Court monsters. As a quick reminder, the Waning Court is a group of dark fae that have a nightmarish feel. They're very autumn-inspired and that sort of thing. They are for a horror-themed Dungeons & Dragons campaign that I run, but you could adapt them or their concepts to any other fantasy role-playing game that you wanted. The reason that I'm sharing legendary versions of previously published monsters is twofold. One, I get to share two monsters with you in one day, which I think is pretty neat. But two, for folks that are just kind of building monsters for their first time, this gives them a good idea of how to take an existing monster, give it its own unique name, some of its own unique abilities and a personality, and craft a memorable non-player character antagonist that will stick with their players for a while. Now, in a previous video, we did cover a Rushlight Chanter, but instead of going back to that, I'm just going to sum up them very quickly here. A Rushlight Chanter is a bard-like monster that works for the Waning Cult, which are a group of mortals that worship the Waning princes in turn. And they have, besides bard spells and a nasty whip attack and the like, they have Soothsayer, so they gain back spell slots whenever someone dies because of one of their attacks. And they also have Rushlight. What happens is Direfly larvae, which is a horrible insect that's associated with the Waning Court, their larvae infest the heart of the Rushlight Chanter. They never mature, and it allows that heart to glow and produce Rushlight, which is a short-lived, enervating glow, but the Rushlight Chanter can expend spell slots to have that glow continue. So again, they're just kind of a charismatic front-face villain. They're usually very deceptive. They're not easily associated with the cult. They're kind of a sheep in wolf's clothing. A legendary Rushlight Chanter we're going to cover today is Ashbraid. Now, she is a robust woman with a booming laugh and steely hair. She is a dwarf. Her full name is Ashbraid Ramdaughter. She fell in with the Waning Court after she was left broken and bleeding in an alleyway of a human city. Tormented by a street gang after months of being homeless, she crawled after a glowing moat until she found herself at the feet of a Waning Scion, or a high priest of a Waning cult. Of course, this moat ended up being a Direfly. However, the cult took her in, tended to her wounds, gave her the community that she'd lacked for so long. In turn, Ashbraid fully adopted their beliefs and Direflies into her heart. The murmuring of the dread larva created a harmony with the ceaseless voices in her head. The soothing music this produced allowed Ashbraid not only to interact with society, but now excel. She now travels the circuit of taverns across the region, keeping track on the various Waning cults, making sure they stay in communication and passing out the orders of her Waning Scion. She also defends the downtrodden and converts all that she can to the Waning Court's ideals, because she knows that the court will give them a better life. Or at least that's what she thinks. The basic idea with Ashbraid in her background is, beside being very dwarfy, is that she is someone that has a sympathetic villain reason, that she has some actual heroic motivation, such as helping the downtrodden and the like, and she's very charismatic, so there's a chance that the players are going to sympathize with her, might even be fooled by her at first, until the rug is pulled out from under them, and oh my goodness, she's actually working for the bad guys and for, ancient, evil, dark fae. But for now, let's go ahead and take a look at her statistics for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Now, she is a CR 5, so she is slightly tougher than a normal Rushlight Chanter, and kind of a good villain for a Tier 1 adventure series. She has, as a dwarf, of course, resistance to poison, Dwarven resilience. She does have a history score as well. She does have a performance score and deception. These all really tie into her bardish sort of background. Like we mentioned with the Rushlight Chanter, she does have Soothsayer, so anytime she uses an action that reduces a creature to 0 hit points, then she gets a spell slot back equal to their level or CR, with a minimum of 1. She does have spell casting, so she has a bevy of bard spells that she can cast. She does have Rushlight that she can use more often than a normal Rushlight Chanter, just one more time per day. Instead of carrying a whip, though, because she is a dwarf, and in my head, whips and dwarfs just don't mix, she does have a deadwood shillelagh, so she has a nice stick made of pitted, terrible wood that does cause Constitution saves or become incapacitated when she hits it with you. If they fail by more than 5, then she can use her reaction to cast a spell against that target. She does have Humiliating Whispers, which is the reaction that all Rushlight Chanters have. So if they're missed with an attack, then they can use a reaction to do damage back, kind of like Hellish Rebuke. She does have a couple of legendary actions. One of those is Bottoms Up. So if she uses an improvised weapon, she can actually push things away from her when she smashes people with it, so she's great in bar fights. She has Cast the Runes, which are runes that are made of dead wood pieces, not really very dwarfy. Well, kind of dwarfy, but also kind of evil, which is basically the Bane spell. And she does have Rush, so she can actually collapse into Rushlight and use something similar to Misty Step as needed. I'm actually pretty happy about this sort of build, especially bottoms up, because bar fights are something that all players love. I'm glad I got to share a Rushlight Chanter that I've used before directly with you, that has kind of a personality and also, again, a sympathetic side to her that players will be gravitated towards. You can find Ashbraid, all the creatures I made previously for October Monster a Day, and hundreds of other horror-themed creatures at boxofteeth.blogspot.com. If you're interested also in the non-Dungeons & Dragons horror role-playing stuff that I do, or the horror fiction that I write, which includes Greasepaint, you can see a little bit of poster right there. It's got a killer clown. It's a good read for Halloween. www.zacharyoshea.com. I really do appreciate your time and your attention, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the afternoon.